Welcome back to Takeout. Welcome back to the Conversation Corner. And yes, the new chairs are very, very comfortable. Retired U.S. Army Major and urban warfare expert John Spencer sharing life lessons he learned from his many near-death experiences in a new book titled 20 Times I Almost Died, Life Lessons from the Edge of Survival. And John joins me now. He is also the current co-director of the Urban Warfare Project. And let me emphasize, you are a major, an actual legit major, as opposed to a major in name only, which is what I've always been for 64 years. By the way, it's my birthday, so 64 years exactly today. Oh, wow. John, it's great to have you here. So 20, does one stand out more than another, or are 20 near-life death experiences pretty much the same?
No, none of them are the same.
Okay.
They're all either vastly different locations around the world or vastly different near deaths. Some are.
Are there any common denominators? I mean, obviously there's risk and peril, but anything else?
No, I think it's just me. And I believe that no man has stepped in the same river twice. The man nor the river are the same. Right. So each one of these, I'm a different person. I either take a lot from them or not, and I try to make the lesson from each one of the experiences.
If a civilian is listening to you and say, well, look, I've never had a near-death experience of any kind, how could I relate to this book?
Yeah, I hope they relate a lot to it, because the whole point is to live your life by a code. These are stories in which my character was either developed or tested. So at the end of it is literally a code I developed for my kids in my now civilian world.
Walk me through that code. That fascinates me.
So I actually struggled explaining to my daughters about being strong because her mom was deployed in the war. So I developed this code, which is an acronym because I'm a military guy,
right,
about being strong and what that means in our today and for them every day, about being mentally and physically fit, about respect is given and it's earned, it's never demanded. Each one of the letters of strong has a variable of what does that mean? And we use it a lot in my family to say, look, that's not who we are. We don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't steal. Kind of some of the golden rules are in there, but they're all actually developed through all these experiences I've had in and out of my military career.
How did the first of these near-death experiences influence all the rest? Because that has to be the one that you remember obviously the one you remember the longest.
Again, picking which story is my favorite almost, or the very first one, I actually, as a 17-year-old boy, joined the military and get shipped to Panama, which is a culture shock from a small town of Indiana into the jungles of Panama. And I get attacked by African killer bees in my whole face. And we end up getting lost in the jungle. That's where really things start to become real, and you get put to the test of, okay, now what are you going to do? And
you're disoriented, you're in tremendous pain.
Yep.
And you're not exactly sure what you are or can do next.
Right. So I get the chance to say, well, quitting is not an option here, which is a real theme of the book, is that not quitting, or quitting is not an option, but it doesn't mean you don't change direction. You don't take a step back. In that instance, I had to keep moving forward, and it ended up being a whole day of running out of water, all of this, but not quitting was what got me through it. And I just took another step until we found the point where everybody else was.
I am not a military history buff, because if you say you are, you really have got to have read lots and lots and lots of books, but I'm interested. And one of the things that is a recurrent theme in that space is the American soldier, historically, has been credited with a couple of things: adaptability and ingenuity. Lots of other militaries are more disciplined. They sometimes have better training, some other things. But one of the added values of the American soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, adaptability, ingenuity. Important?
Absolutely. I actually did that research. I taught strategy at West Point, so absolutely that's there. And the age-old question is, why do we fight, is always in military history. Why do American soldiers fight? And they fight for the people to the left and right of them, but one of the questions I used to ask military formations that I was in charge of is like, who are we? And a lot of times we are Americans. And that comes with that can-do, which is that innovation.
And some of it's ignoring rules or changing rules on the fly.
Yep, absolutely.
And having the freedom and agency to do that.
Absolutely. Which is, you're right. As I travel the world to all these other militaries that I study and see how they had success or not, that variable is an American trait. That American trait of not only can do, but I'm going to do it this way.
I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And I'll see you at the top.
That's right.
John Spencer, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.